Ronan, welcome to the Kingdom of Kerry.
Oh, it's great to be here. Look at the day.
I love Kerry. Genuinely, a day outside of Kerry is a day wasted.
Fact.
Slayhead Drive behind us here. Cowman Beach, looks like the Amalfi Coast. Over here, Dunmore Head. I think you have a fair idea where we're going.
I do, but go on, put me out of my misery.
Dingle.
Oh my God, Dingle. Wants a fishing town with a drinking problem. Nah, a drinking town with a fishing problem.
Only problem we have, back up that hill.
Why, where are we going?
Dick Macks.
Ah, it's worth it. Let's go. Buckley! Welcome to episode 8 of Poor Decisions. My name is Ronan Collins, or Whiskey for Breakfast.
My name is Michael Cowman, or The Cowman Show. I mean, it is amazing we're 8 episodes in and you still can't pronounce the name of the podcast.
Poor. How do you say it? Poor. And I don't think I'll ever be able to say it, so we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, we are in our spiritual home today.
Yeah, I mean, I think this place we could certainly credit with the foundation of the podcast. Maybe that's snug over there in the corner. After many glasses of water. Drink responsibly, kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do love it. We are in Dingle.
We are in Dingle.
We do genuinely love it. It's a bit of a trek to get here.
Yeah, it's 4.5 hours from Dublin, which, to be fair, might be part of the attraction. It is. I've never met anybody who doesn't like Dingle. I mean, we're here today. It's a little bit rainy outside this morning, but it's just a great place to be.
Yeah, what is it to say? Like, a day outside of Kerry is a day wasted.
Precisely. That is it. We're in the kingdom.
Yeah.
Kingdom of Kerry.
We woke up this morning, had an ice bath, had a great coffee, and now we are filming in probably our favourite bar.
Yeah, one of our favourite bars.
One
in
of
the country.
them.
One of them. I mean,
we do love them all equally.
It is a amazing whiskey bar. It was the runner-up for the Paddy Losty, the inaugural Paddy Losty trophy.
That's right, after Sky on the Ground.
Sky on the Ground,
filmed in, watch that episode.
Which we don't remind Finn of very often. But Dingle itself as a town, amazing town. For the size of the town, tiny little town, but from festivals like Other Voices, they do like a food festival here, distillery here, there's a brewhouse here in Dick Macks. There's a huge amount going on here. And the food scene is great as well.
Food scene, coffee scene, pub scene. There's even a cocktail bar in the town now. But I think Star Wars was filmed here.
Just out the road. I mean, the drives all around here.
Yeah.
Like Slayhead and stuff. Amazing.
Yeah, because I suppose like bringing it all together, the reason that Dingle's almost like, I think it's what Americans think Ireland actually is Dingle.
Yeah, if you had Dingle right now, but you didn't have Wi-Fi in Dingle, that'd be what Americans think Ireland looks like.
Yeah, and the tourists that are here, which is brilliant for like everyone who lives here. All the locals love tourism because it's pretty much the bread and butter of the economy. But it is everywhere. But it can be slightly chaotic, and we have seen it kind of firsthand a few times.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great place to be. But there is always something going on, and there's always some a little bit of craziness going on.
Yeah, especially the beaches around the water's edge.
The amount of cars that seem to decide that they drive an amphibious vehicle is quite impressive. I mean, Finn, who's one of the the family owns Dick Macks here, he will often send me a picture of a car floating out to sea because apparently tides aren't a thing in Dublin. Generally, Dublin are Limerick registered cars. And similarly, Dunquin Pier, which is a tiny little pier that you walk down. Every year, somebody tries to drive down the full length of it.
Yeah, because it's like that windy, wee, narrow road.
Tiny little thing like.
And essentially, the reason the cars get stuck, for those who don't know, is because they drive on when the tide is out, and it's this beautiful, flat, hard, compact sand, and they go for a swim or go for a walk because they're like, "Isn't this so idyllic?" And then like, between 4 to 6 hours later, they come back and, their Renault Clio is
halfway to France.
Yeah, there we go. And they're like, what happened there? Like, they didn't know that the water came in. But,
I mean, that's the thing about tides. They come in and they go out, you know, so.
It's a bit like life, ebbs and flows.
But the tourism is certainly a major driver here.
And you've been coming here a lot longer than I have, like consistently. And you've done some of them, like
Yeah, I've done. There's a load of cool experiences, but one of the main ones is, especially out on the water, used to be fungi. You know, so R.I.P. fungi.
R.I.P.
Pour one out. But yeah, Jesus, it deserves that.
For those who don't know, fungi is a dolphin.
Was a dolphin.
Was a dolphin. Oh, was a dolphin. But you've met fungi a few times.
Yeah, met fungi when I was younger, and just before he passed away, or well, I don't know.
Disappeared.
Went out, did like a sea kayaking thing, and he
sea safari.
I love that dude. But he consistently every day fungi would appear. So Dingle Bay, it's kind of an enclosed bay, and he came in many years ago, I think like early 90s or something, and he consistently appeared every day. So they'd run the boat tours out. They do loads of tourism based around fungi. That dolphin put more kids through college than the Bank of Ireland. Like, I swear to God, there's a statue of him down in by the harbour. But genuinely, like, there's two things you don't joke about in Kerry, is fungi and Gaelic football.
You don't actually. Yeah. So I know we are having a wee bit of a tongue-in-cheek moment about it, but if you come to Dingle and you try to make a joke about fungi, especially to the staff or like any locals, like you will not be like given a good response.
Especially if you're a dub. Dubs just aren't given the, Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, we are in Dick Macks, and there's probably no one better to talk about this old school bar leather maker.
But I mean, look, no point us talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's get the big man in.
Absolutely. Finn. My dog's called Finn. Finn.
Well, come here. Come.
He's a good boy. Deadly welcome, Finn.
Pleasure having you here.
Yeah. We always say welcome to the podcast, but we're actually in your home, so it's kind of thank you for having us again.
You're on my turf now.
Yeah,
beware.
We are, for those who don't know, we actually sleep upstairs. My bedroom is just there.
And my one's just back there. It's lovely. It's great. And it's free. But no, it is great. Thank you very much for having us and repeatedly having us. I think he's up there now with Big Sexy Dave from 1661. Like, this is like the only fans edition of Poor Decisions.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm in the big time.
Yeah, Mr. January or something.
Well, I never mind having you. I remember one time I didn't know you. You came down and we gave you a room. Yeah. Came in the following morning to check if you were alive. Nobody in the bed. Not even touched. Great. Didn't have to make it again. You have a habit of going out and not coming home. The ideal candidate to have in a room.
Just in case people are getting notions for what I lost my key that night.
Well, no, what happened is he didn't bring the key out, and I opened the window and looked down at the church because Dick Macks is across from the church and the church is across from Dick Macks. And I looked down and Ronan was asleep outside the church because he'd forgotten his key.
I think you had, 15, 20 missed calls?
15 to 20, but that was fine. But it's a great place. We love Dingle. It's always great to be here. Finn, we'll roll it back, right? So it's a family pub.
Family pub.
Yeah.
We all get on great. But not all of the time.
But yeah, a little bit of the history. Like, when did it start? How long's it been in your family? All that kind of jazz.
Well, my great-grandfather worked on the railway that ran into Dingle.
There was a railway!
Okay.
So Augustina, when we were coming down, producer Augustina was like, sure, I'll just get the train back from Dingle. So there was a train.
Correct, yeah. A monorail. Dublin, Limerick, Tralee, Camp, Dingle.
Nice.
Wow.
It ran up until 1935. But in that time, Tom Mack opened a bar here. He had a bar in one half and a leather counter over here.
Yeah.
Come in, get a boot made or repaired, collar, whatever you wanted to have made, we could do it for you. And my grandmother had a little wine, sherry, port kind of aisle over here, if you want to call it, which they imported. And it went quite well at the time. I doubt they could imagine what became of Dingle, of the pub, of, everything to do with Dingle. It really took off, Yeah. And we have managed to, I like to think, hold on to a little bit of that old tradition. We've kept a bar and we have a shop operating from Monday to Friday, kind of April until October.
But you have a leather maker in here during like during the week, whatever as well, don't you?
Aaron,
you
met him earlier.
Yeah, we came down this morning with a couple of flat whites after our ice tub, feeling like modern men, and he was just there, like making. You got a couple of holes put in your belt.
I brought a belt from Thailand, and he put a couple of holes in that one for me.
You said it was leather, he didn't.
Faux leather. It'll be packed. You can tell it'll be packed in the middle. But Aaron would be what we call a blow-in. And
he's been in Dingle 45 years.
I don't know how many of you have heard of that term, but if you're a blow-in, you're never going to be a local.
Yeah.
Never. But Aaron came here over a decade ago. Kind of a funny tale behind how Aaron got here. He featured in a documentary called Blow-In, I think, if you look it up. He came to Dingle, would have been hanging out in here a little bit, and then he ended up working on our door, and eventually ended up working on the leather county, a year and a half ago. But going back to that whole term blow-in, if you're a blow-in, you're not from here. Pretty much your great grandmother and grandfather have to be buried out in Milltown if you want to be a local,
Yeah, because Dingle, it is a small community, and it's a long way from a lot of other places, I guess. It is a traditional Irish speaking area as well. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things that go into being a local, I guess.
Yeah. Hard to qualify.
Yeah.
Put it that way. But from day one, from when my great grandfather opened the bar, people have been coming here. Yeah. Be it on the train to get a boot repaired, or pick up a bottle of port, or go down the road and pick up a coffin. You had a pub down the road, they were a coffin maker. Up here, you have a hardware. They were all a dual function idea. And a few of them have held in there, and they're continuing that on today. But I think the main advantage we have, people like to come here. Be it back in 1899 when we opened for a beer and a boot, to today when they come here to go to hold a baby lamb, or have really good food in the evening. Yeah, we've a lot to offer down here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I think it's one of those places in Ireland, and you come down. We were only saying in the intro, we were kind of saying, it's such a small town, but for the size of it, the food scene, other voices, food festivals, everything that's going on, it's an amazing little town.
Huge, and every generation have added. My great grandfather opened it, and then Dick Mack, Richard MacDonnell, took it over in 1935. He came in, and then I came in here at the end of 2005 and worked for my uncle, a guy called Oliver Mack, guy up here in the portrait. Real pub character. Yeah. No one like him really, in a town where there were a lot of them. He really would have been up there with any of them. And he brought the pub to a new level. He attended the Dandelion Market up in Dublin, doing leather work, and that put the name out there, and people were kind of drawn to him in that the way he looked very dapper. He had a very unique humor, and that brought people here. And along with Fungi the Dolphin, they found in 1981, I think they found him.
Is he that?
81 or 82,
okay,
yeah.
Wow.
No way.
They all helped to really put the town on the map, and the pub, along with it. And when I came in here then, I remember going, oh my God, how am I going to even live up to what, people have done before me? But it kind of happened. You came in, looked after people, and here I am, quite a while later. And unfortunately, I'm no longer working with my uncle, but we are a family affair. And, every day I come in here, I kind of keep taking it day by day to continue it on for whoever will come after me,
And you have to be given credit for as the custodian to such a historic and iconic bar. Like, you are modernizing it, but you're not destroying the past. You're kind of working in a balance and a harmony between the two as you're like bringing Dick Macks like along with the change in kind of landscape.
Well, you have to keep moving forward and adapting. And I have encountered a lot of pullback, we'll call it, where people are going, whoa, take your time, And you take that into account, and you pretty much have an AGM meeting every month, we'll call it, with your local crew that drink here, and you run it by them, or you nearly give them the idea, hoping that they'll go, I have an idea for you.
Inception, yeah.
Pretty much. And I haven't gone too far wrong with that approach, giving everyone their their input, input and taking it on board.
You've modernized the place as well. I mean, miraculously, you now take card. That was a big step. Yeah. The brew house out the back was a big one. Was it you added that? Brewery, that was in your tenure, I guess.
The brewery would be a big one. Yeah, I mean, when we look back, I don't know why we did it really or how, you know, to be completely truthful with you. A lot of work. It came about quite organically, really. We have a beer called Bailbon over here, brewed back in Ballyferriter by a lady called Adrienne and her brew partner. And a guy who worked for them kept coming in every week, delivering beer. And I remember pouring them and going, we're pouring quite a bit of beer here. You know, we're doing a keg or two a week, half keg. We're thinking, you know, it might work. Why don't we get a few more? And we tried out a couple, but really people were jumping for the local one. And time went on. That would have been back in 2014. And then me and two other people got together over here in the corner, having a beer or two. And we talked about, would we bottle beer? Would we take it further and maybe make our own, you know, go to another brewery? And eventually, after traveling all around Ireland and a little bit of in the UK, we went to London to the beer mile. We kind of came back and went, you know what? We'll go for it. We'll build a little microbrewery, you know, and we did. We went to a company called Braucon in Germany. They provided the equipment, and we got very lucky then with our head brewer, a guy called Graham. He came in looking for a job. He'd worked with Killarney Brewing and a couple more, but had moved nearer to Dingle. He came in, which meant we had good beer from the off, turnkey kind of idea. And it went from there, and, you know, we begun off with the idea of making beer for here. Now, bear in mind, the pub and the brewery are independent. The brewery trade off our name. We figured it'd be kind of a leg up. But when it came then to going around the town, we went, oh, what have we done? You know, why have we named it after the pub? We're going to have no hope of getting in with
other pubs like
John Bainey or Paul Gainey or whoever around the town. And I'm thinking, okay, well, look, we'll begin off and we'll make it for here. After about a month and a half, Graham, our brewer, went, you're going to run into trouble. You're not going to be able to drive enough beer through one pub. You're going to have to go out and, you know, go door knocking.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I've never had it. I've had a very handy life, really, you know. I came out of college. I attended college, you know. And I left college at the end. And I came in here then to do my uncle a favour, really, for a year or two, who wanted to take a break from it and all of that. And I never had to really do anything other than have fun, look after people, keep everything tidy, pour beer, take the money, cash all the time. You know? A little bit in the till, a little bit back here. And thank you very much. And then it came to going door knocking to get beer out there. And I'm going, I don't need that in my life, you know?
Yeah.
And looking back,
I've been a rep. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, you know the pain. Like, don't call to people on a Monday. Yeah. No way do you call to anyone on a Monday. If you're a newbie and you come into a pub on a Monday, forget it.
Or a Friday. Don't be calling on a Friday either.
Yeah. But anyway, looking back, I can't believe how well it went. I remember thinking that it won't work, you know, with our name. Who would want to put our name on their bar counter? But after half an hour of going around to a couple of people, we begun off with a guy called John Benny, who would be, you know, an icon in the pub game in Dingle. Yeah, great pub. Yeah. They do food. Been at it a long time. And we went into him for a chat to go, what do you reckon about the idea of going around? And right away he went, yeah, why not? Give it a go. And we did. And we knocked on maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't remember. And they all turned around and went, yeah, we'll give it a go.
Class.
And for me, looking back, I think I probably felt a part of Dingle that day.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up below the hill. I'm not a blow-in. I get away with it. You know, I'm fortunate.
But only just. Like,
only, you know, borderline. You know, fortunately, I mean,
yeah,
if you're in, you're in. Yeah. You know, we left that day and I remember calling home, going to my dad. I went, you won't believe it, but, you know, 5, the pub gang down here want to take the beer or will take it. Now, there are a few more that were a bit more reluctant and there were a few that were very hard work. But eventually they all got on board, and it made me proud to be from Dingle in that, you know, in a tough kind of competitive game, everyone were willing to give it a go. Yeah. And they've all hung in there. You know, we work very hard at keeping the beer flowing. Yeah. Try not to run out. If they have a problem, we'll run up and we'll help them with our own beer, or if they have a problem with a big beer, we'll do what we can. And, you know, everyone do pull together in town and help each other out, you know?
Because tourism's such a big part of the economy here as well. You're all still striving for your piece of the pie, but it's cool to hear that at the same time you're all like, we're still stronger together in this one. So you know, a united front. Yeah,
well, we had a dirty tactic too, you know. They're important. We did the tour, and the tour go quite well. The beer have taken over now from the tour, but the tour were a handy little learner, you know. Yeah. And like American people are great. They're all go, you know, they're like, yeah, bigger, better.
Enthusiasm, yeah.
You know, whatever they have to do to win, they're going to do it. And we do the tour, and we play the Portsmouth for an hour and a half on the tour, charge them €12, I think, at the time. And then we tell them to go off. And we were telling them where to go that had our beer. And then we're like, why don't we tell them where to go that don't have the beer, you know? And we tell them to go up to whoever, you know? And they'd go up knowing that they didn't have the beer. And they'd look for it. Bartender go, no, don't have it. Okay, we'll leave. And they'll leave.
No way.
And that went on. And a couple of people rang and they were like, look, we know what you're at.
Yeah.
But if you're going to continue telling people to come here, great. We're here for it. And we'll take the beer.
Chess, not checkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it went from there. And then, you know, if there were a few people that didn't have it, they were better off to get on the train, and, you know, everyone pulled together.
I love that.
You know?
I mean, one of the other elements of the pub, and probably the main reason we started coming down here, was the whiskey side of things, I guess. And that's been a huge expansion. And I mean, like, I think this pub kind of typifies the growth in Irish whiskey, because you've kind of grown along with it. That international reputation for a whiskey, as a whiskey bar, has grown with that. Yeah.
Well, to begin, I can't take credit for it. A guy called Peter White, who you know very well.
Another dub.
You can't not know Peter White if you're into that game. Peter White came in here with another guy. They'd been out hiking all day on a rainy November day. There were about 4 people in here, maybe more. There were two here. But I remember Peter and the other guy were down here at the left. And he came in, and we had, you know, the usual bottle of Jemmy 15. We'd 4 of them. Whatever rep came in, and that day did very well with my uncle. My uncle probably had a few on board. We had, you know, Black Bush, you know, the usual standard stuff. And Peter White came in and drank a full bottle of Lafroig 10, which we had lying around. And he went, will you get another bottle? And I'm like, oh God, they're hitting it hard, you know. Wouldn't blame them, hiking out here in November. Yeah. But I went out, knew I didn't have it, went out, I'll look for it, whatever, you know. Came back, don't have Lafroig, we'll offer you whatever. And he didn't like it. Yeah. You know, kind of a bullish kind of guy. And he left anyway, and he came back the following day, and he kind of offered to bring a bottle or 2 down from Dublin. He worked in the fire brigade up there, and had plenty of time off, you know, to come to Dingle. And he'd come down with a bottle or 2, and it went on like that for maybe a month, and they weren't moving, you know. They were up here. I remember we had the Irishman 12, and you know, the people that drank here were into it. They were going, okay, great, a bit of variety, you know. No, they were kind of reluctant to pay 12, 14, 15 euro, and it would have all been new at the time. Remember, we were back
10 years ago, 12,
2012.
Yeah,
2012. You could get a pint and a measure for €9. Yeah, a bit different now, but Peter, we got to the point where, like, you know what, why don't we go for it? We'll add a few more. And Peter came on with a bootload. I'm thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do? Anyway, we had maybe 20, 30 up here, and April rolled around, and right away they were going to move. People were coming in. We were going, okay, we have to really up our game here. We didn't know what we had.
Yeah.
Now, Peter White did, but Peter White didn't work here at the time. He volunteered all that, you know, all that information and kind of go, really. He gave it a bit of go to get it going. And, you know, it went from there. We began learning about them. I went on the road with Peter. I went to Islay, went around to Middleton, you know, went everywhere we could to pick up a bit of knowledge. And a few of the crew that were working here at the time were quite into it, you know, and it went from there, really. And have to thank Peter White for all that, you know. And, you know, he provided the initial idea. And then I kind of ran with it. And I really enjoyed it. For me, it gave me an opportunity to get out of Dingle. You know, people in Dingle we love Dingle. We're proud of it. And for me, I do get bogged down in it, where I never go anywhere. I think, what'll I do if I'm out of Dingle? But going on the road with Peter White meant I got out. We were working, you know. And I've fell in love with the whole idea of it, and I'm promoting it now. We've a whole wall up here. We've more behind you. We've a few in a toilet up here that I locked away. You know,
seen that.
Some nice stuff,
some mad stuff. Yeah,
don't say anything.
We've really gone for it.
Yeah,
you know?
But it's a testament to the fact in Ireland. I think a lot of pubs we're like that. They're a little bit hesitant. They maybe don't have the knowledge. But we're in Dingle, so you know you have the tourism, you have that element. But if you build it, they will come. They will. You know, and you have to promote yourself. You have to really push it out, because there's so many bars in Ireland. There's guys rurally closing down and whatever. So you have to do something a little bit different. But I think, when people come in, they kind of see the collection it's a very impressive.
It
collection
worked.
these days.
It worked great.
Yeah.
You know, we had the layout. They were all empty. It looked terrible. You know, I have taken them all down and looked at it and thought, what were we doing?
Yeah.
Why couldn't I come up with an idea like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I actually, because like we post about being in here quite a lot. I had a couple of mates over from London in Dublin, and they texted me, and I was like, "This is where you should go," and like named a few bars and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, well, like we can't find Dick Macks on the map." And I was like, "Oh, lads, it's not Dublin." And they're like, "Oh no, we'll go. Like we're gonna rent a car." And I was like, "No, it's Dingle," and they're like, "Okay, grand." So they typed it in. They're like, "Lad, that's like the other side of
country,
Ireland." And I was like,
Okay.
"Yeah." And they're like, "You go there very often?" I was like, "Yeah, it's worth it."
Yeah.
But Finn, we have a question we ask everyone.
Mm.
This is actually your baby. I'll let you
Maybe
describe it.
So Room 101, it was a show. The premise is you put something in this room and it disappears forever.
Yeah.
All right. So we asked this to everyone we interview, and it could be reps, it could be a drink, it could be us, it could be whatever you want.
It's not allowed to be us though.
It's not allowed to be us. No, we'd cut that out. So yeah, Room 101. What's one thing in the bargain, whatever it is, that you'd get rid of?
I found it hard to pick one. Yeah. I'd forgotten about Room 101 until we had a beer here when you arrived and you told me, and I went to bed happy. Went to bed really happy and content, looking forward to today. And then I went, what will I do for Room 101? I'm lying there, and I could feel the mind working, you know, going into overdrive. I'm thinking, oh no, here we go, down the rabbit hole. And they were popping into my head, and I got quite worked up. Heart rate went up, you know. Feel like the heat at the back of my head.
This is what poor decisions does to people.
Yeah, I remember thinking, 2 a.m, I have to be up at 8 o'clock. Right, forget about it. And I couldn't forget about it. Anyway, if I have to pick one, it would have to be when people come in and they order half and half.
Yeah.
They order, I don't even know what they are. I haven't done them in that long. And I've narrowed it down, right? I'll tell you how far down the rabbit hole I went in bed at 2:30 in the morning. I narrowed it down to people who are from Buffalo, New York. I don't know why. And I don't want to pick on anyone from anywhere, you know.
But you have.
They're great. They
so
come here,
specific.
they're in form. But they come in and they're like, can I get a half and half? I'm like, or a black and tan.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. Well,
Now, the black
Don't ask for that here.
The black and tan, I have a way out. I remember when I began working here back in end of 05, fairly naive guy came in and ordered a black and tan. And I went, oh yeah, how do you make them? I'll do that for you, no problem. And began pouring it everywhere, you know. I'm thinking, oh right, what have I done? And then a couple of local people who were here, Cork Joe, he won't mind me naming him. He won't be watching it anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody
does. Yeah.
But he'd had a few now. He'd had a good few. He'd been riled up. He'd had a couple of paddy, you know. He'd high temperature going well, you know. And he read me the rule book on what to do and what not to do. The black and tan they were gone, you know. But you can tell people about them and who they were, and you end up having a great chat with people, and they end up going, "Oh God, I won't ever order that."
They're
again.
there with the Irish car bomb, like.
But the half and half are kind of like a loophole that they've figured out to get around calling it the black and tan. And I get really irked by it, you know.
Wait, so what do you consider a half and half? Because I suppose in Scotland, a half and half would be a half lager with like a whiskey. So like a half and half.
No, it'd be like half a lager and half and half are be like a half a porter and half a beer.
Yeah.
A lager.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Which is it's ruining both. Oh, so
Really?
I suppose in my experience, a half and half is like a half pint.
Yeah.
And a half
But
measure.
that's a Scottish thing. But if they're coming from the States,
Yeah. So
you
that.
don't know what they're asking
Yeah,
for.
I love this. Yeah. So what? So then, what do you just give them one of each?
I don't do it.
Oh, class.
I tell them we don't do it. I can't do it today.
We don't make cocktails here.
If they come in on a Monday, I'm like, oh, we don't do them on a Monday. we have a rule, you know, they're hard to make. We don't do them on a Monday. Any other day, fine, you know.
Yeah.
And if they come in the following day, I run. I have a good memory. But they're one thing that really annoy me. I don't know why. I mean, people that make beer, no matter what kind of beer they are making, they're proud of it.
Yeah.
And they're working hard to do that.
Yeah.
Why come along and, you know,
Ruin two good drinks.
why do it?
Yeah. Do you make Irish coffees on a Monday?
No, not on a Monday. Monday are a bad day. We already talked. We covered that. Have you not been paying attention? We covered Monday. Don't come into a pub on Monday, really. You know, come in for
Don't want
a
you.
pint and a dram and leave everyone. You know, do your own
Jesus,
thing.
don't come in on Friday either.
Yeah.
Finn, that was brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, man.
We have one thing before you leave. So we brought you down a gift. You're always very good to us. And so we wanted to bring you a gift. to show a token of our appreciation, I suppose. So there's a lot of pictures up around the bar here. So we wanted to present you with this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Kevin Abrook, who you might know, ex
from Tullamore,
yeah. So he painted this for me, and I thought there's probably no better place to go than up on the walls here, and Dick Mack can be immortalised here, like, you know. You couldn't cover up Charlie.
Gone. Nobody in mind.
So brilliant. Yeah, that's for you. We'll hang that up later. We'll get a little video of that.
I think it's very, very great painting, well done, Kevin. But I kind of feel like it's Michael, and like if I was having a fever dream,
there are two of him now. With an ego that big, you have to have a backup character in your life.
But yeah, we'll hang that up later. We'll get a little
bit.
But yeah.
Finn, before you go, any chance of 2 of your Dick Mack IPAs?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
coming up.
Daily. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much. Great.
Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, Finn is a bit of a legend, and he got us their Dick Macks IPA. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Ooh, cheers, boy.
Good little drop. This we tend to. They used to have a stout as well. They used to have like a nitro stout, which was brilliant, but I don't think they do that.
I never tried it because it was always not on tap. But for those who haven't been to Dingle and Dick Macks, you have to come. It is a bit of a drive, but it's worth it.
What would you know about the drive? I drove the 4.5 hours. You sat there drinking cans of craft beer and listening to the Cranberries. You have an electric car. It doesn't even go this far.
No, it doesn't. I've actually never driven to Dingle. You drive all the time. And I was super happy. I just like drinking a few cans. But I think that's a great thing to talk about, like drinking in transit. Is that a good
drinking in transit vans?
Yeah, exactly. Margaret Thatcher talking on TV.
But yeah, I think drinking in transit, it is a big topic. I think, and there's different levels of drinking in transit.
Yeah, there is. Like the iconic pint of Guinness in an airport.
Pint of Guinness in the airport, yeah. And I think some of them are classier than others, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that pint of Guinness in the airport, or a little glass of Prosecco or something before you
acceptable.
Champagne if you're
us.
Yeah, exactly. But there's different levels. So I mean, what modes of transport have you got? You got plane, train, automobile, ferry, bus,
bike.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, let's break it down. Let's put a bit of structure on this, right?
Yeah.
What's the classiest one?
Oh, so if you're drinking, what's the most like classy, most socially acceptable?
Yes.
Airplanes. Like on like let's just take out pre-flight, like on the actual airplane, having a drink, totally acceptable.
You're encouraged to.
Absolutely, they come around, they give you the wee bottles.
If you're in business class or something, you get like a nice 12-year-old scotch
like
or something.
A fancy one. There was actually a flight I did to Bar Covenant, Brooklyn.
Oh yeah,
and Bea Bradsell, Dick Bradsell's daughter. Dick Bradsell invented the espresso martini. She was on the flight in like on a Virgin flight, like on their bar, making all the people in like Premium Plus or whatever espresso martinis. We were sitting there.
You were in Premium Plus.
I think
you weren't paying for that flight anyway, were you?
No, of course not. And yeah, I think me and one of the guys, we had like 4 espresso martinis, like in glass, chilled glassware. Like that was bougie.
It is hilarious how as you move up the classes, they're like, oh yeah, no, knives, here's a proper knife, here's some glass. Yeah, don't worry about it. People with more money, you're never going to rob the plane, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like you just get nicer. Well, I suppose you probably pay for it, but it is just a better experience. But yeah, I think the most socially acceptable is drinking on a plane, even if it's just spirit mixer, a wee small can of beer. Like you're allowed to. No one frowns upon.
I remember coming back from South Africa once, and it was the South Africa, Dubai, Dublin. It was the 22nd of December. And because that Dubai, Dubai's obviously a transit hub, and everybody coming back from Australia, from Dubai, from Saudi, it was like a party bus coming back home. Like they ran out of booze. Like, and I remember, I think everybody just kept with the little minis of like Jack Daniels and Jameson and Johnny Walker, and it was like, what have you got left? Like guys were drinking gin and coke by the end of it. Like,
what about her eyes? They shine like diamonds.
But yeah, certainly, I haven't had the pleasure of like that first class, experience yet. Yes. I did pay €40 for a flight between Netherlands and Norway for an upgrade to first class, which was only about an hour and a half. But I was like, grand.
Worth it.
For and they come out proper glass. Here's a little bottle of like Heineken or something like it. And it was like, great.
Call me Mr. Cowman.
Call me sir.
So airplane is the most socially acceptable / classy. What would be the next?
The train?
Yeah, actually, yeah, train, like, and we're like all encompassing train rides because there's a lot of different types of train rides.
I mean, there's the Orient Express.
Exactly.
And there's the
way to travel.
There's the Dingle to Dublin train.
Like coal cart. Yeah. Like if you go to Paris via the Eurostar from London, it is accepted, and it actually said that you're allowed to bring like a reasonable amount of champagne for personal consumption and drink it on that.
Who's reasonable amount?
Well, probably the French, because like they're probably like a bottle or two. Like we would be like, I'll take 15 cases of sparkling swamp water.
Oh yeah, no, you're put off if it's like Cava or Prosecco or Zect. They're like, no.
Oh, they don't let you into Paris. They just stop you. It's like, what did you have on the train? I was like, oh, just a bottle of Prosecco. They're like, get out. It's like, why are you even here? Turn around. But yeah, drinking that's cool. But like sometimes, but there's also a bar on a train.
There's a bar on a train, and places that there are a bar, it's probably more socially acceptable. And you're taking the train to Westport for the weekend with a pile of lads. You're going on a stag. That's pretty acceptable.
Because you have a table.
Yeah.
You might have a few sandwiches.
Yeah, maybe playing a game of cards. You know.
And someone having a few cans, even the ticket person comes across, it's like snap, snap, snap. You know, it's actually grand.
So, but what do you get? So on an airplane, you're probably getting spirits.
Spirits, tins of beer. Maybe,
small little tins of beer.
Glass
On the train, you probably. Sometimes they don't let you bring on your own drink anymore, but it's probably like cans, really. Isn't it?
Cans. A few bottles, and we're talking just like medium level. And then, like, what would be after that then?
In terms of classiness,
socially acceptable. Yeah.
Car.
Yeah, as a passenger.
As a passenger. Don't drink and drive.
No. But yeah, like road trip vibes. Unbelievable.
Like you actually, do you know what? That wasn't acceptable at all. I was bored.
Me yesterday.
You were just singing the Cranberries.
Yeah.
And he's not good.
It's the same old thing. Class, what a trip. Car.
Because it's your car. You know, it's you have your mates in the back, and it's fine.
And
you're not bothering anybody else.
Yeah, car / taxi, because I know some taxis don't allow you to drink in them, but still, a limo, all that sort of 4 wheels.
Oh, the limo, yeah.
You know.
Get in the back of the Hummer.
Yeah,
in the hot tub in the Hummer.
But yeah, I think it's grand. Like road trip, like just Route 66, couple of beers.
Well, you can't have open containers in the US. Isn't that a thing?
Is it?
Like they'll pull you, and if you have an open container, they're like, oh no, you can't have that. You know, you'll get done as the driver or whatever.
Fear and loathing in Las Vegas is just a lie.
I don't know. It's probably what you can get away with, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so car there, number 3.
Yeah, fair.
Ferry?
No, ferry's one of the worst.
Well, I mean, we're down to number 4 now.
Yeah.
I mean, the ferry runs a spectrum. Boat, right? So if we take boats, right? So a cruise, very socially acceptable.
Oh, but yeah, a cruise, that could be at the top.
And the ferry then. So you're getting the Rosslare to Cherbourg ferry there from
Dublin to the one in Wales.
Wales, yeah. Fishguard?
No, I can't remember the name.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I suppose to go with your format, there is usually a bar on a plane.
Yeah, or on a ferry.
On a ferry, sorry. Socially more acceptable. But I always think people who are taking a ferry, it's like, why didn't you take a flight? Probably because they're on a no-fly list.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to take a flight. And ferries are a little bit more liberal.
Yeah.
I have done that ferry. I've done that Rosslare to France, just drinking with a lot of truck drivers.
Truck drivers is fair enough, like
because that's their work.
They can't fly with a truck.
Yeah. Hard to fly with a truck, but a little bit getting into the little bit raw. It's like the difference between drinking in the Ritz and drinking in
Wetherspoons.
Yeah,
and like you have coaches of like people going to European football matches, package holidays.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like a melting pot of madness.
Various reasons.
But fair enough, there is a bar, so it is still socially acceptable to drink on it. So that would leave...
Now we get to the end.
The worst place socially and classy.
The bus. And look, again, varying degrees, varying types of buses, right?
Yeah.
So if you're taking the Belfast to Dublin bus.
Oh man,
Those 2.5 hours. You know, and you take that reasonably regular.
Yeah.
Because his electric car doesn't go very far. So
yeah, you'll hear people like just behind you, just, and then like after a while, like you'll hear the can hit the floor and it'll start to roll to the front of the bus, and you're like, oh my God. And then a few more cans will happen. In 2.5 hours on your way to Dublin, people are probably chinning 6-7 cans quickly, because you'll hit a few even before you hit the border.
There's no, and I think there's a couple of things there. There's no real bathroom in a lot of these. All right, the bathroom is
no. It's not. There's no real one. There is no one.
So there's no bathroom as compared to a plane or a ferry or a train. There's no movement space either. So you're on top of one another, and that's the other thing. Like, how much are you disrupting somebody else's day?
And on that one, a lot.
Yeah.
Like, but then like another type of bus. Like, what about if you're nipping into Dublin for a night out?
Yeah, so you're only on the bus for 20 minutes. You've got a naggin in your pocket, or like a hip flask, or like
a 100 ml can pre-batched cocktail.
Oh, that's a good idea. Someone should
That would
do
be
that.
good, yeah.
But yeah, that's absolutely. I think that's pretty fine.
I think that's okay.
Yeah,
because you're just having a wee one, and even like, oh, geez, they like you could even be well dressed. And be like, we're just having a wee nip before we go out.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going from Dublin to
Cork
on the bus at like 2:00 on a Tuesday, and lads are cracking cans, like,
or like the National Express in England, like Wigan to Slough.
Oh, that's the grimmest. That is one of the grimmest journeys I've ever heard.
Yeah, and also when I say that people on ferries are on a no-fly list, people who take buses probably aren't allowed passports.
It's very classist to your own. You take the bus more than anybody I know.
I do. I love it. I don't love it, but I do.
And I think the guys in this is a big thing now, because I think the guys in the Dead Rabbit have their new concept, don't they? The Irish exit. They're all about like opening in places of transit, but they're all train stations, which we have now decided are classy enough places.
Yeah, they're very classy.
They're up towards the top of things.
Yeah, even when I was living in New York 10, 11 years ago, and I was going upstate New York, going through Penn Station at rush hour. Don't do it, but I did it. You would have seen businessmen finishing work, like $5-10 in their hand, and then there was guys with like big drums of like ice and canned beer in brown paper bags, and they would just give them the $5 or $10, and these guys would just pick up 2 cans, go. They probably had their same seat with their same mates, and that 40-minute journey out of the city was like their after work beer, and it was like quite a quick turnover. So that Irish exit that the Dead Rabbit are hoping to roll out in like
Penn Station and places.
Penn Station, so like train stations and airports. Can you imagine bringing a higher level experience of drinking in those places?
Yeah.
Like classic, you're going to go there every day. Maybe it brings back that old school vibe of like luxury travel.
Yeah, and I mean, there is one in Dublin Airport, the White Hag. You know, the guys up in Sligo.
No way.
They have a. I think it's Terminal 1. They have their own experience. They have their own pub.
We love their beers as well.
Yeah, great beers. But yeah, so that's drinking in transit. So that's a definitive list.
Yeah, I think that is a really definitive list, and we love lists.
We love lists. People love lists. You love lists.
Yeah, maybe if you disagree, let us know.
But you've mentioned a place there. You mentioned Slough, right?
Yeah.
And that will bring me on to today's snack.
Right? Slough.
Yeah, mate. So I mentioned Slough, right? So Slough is now the headquarters of KP, who you'll be familiar. Kenyan produce, I think it's.
Kenyan. Why? What are we eating today?
Nuts. We're eating nuts. KP nuts.
KP. Oh no! Wait.
You know,
what?
yeah.
I didn't know. Kenyan project. I didn't know that.
Augustina.
Sorry.
Typical.
Classic.
So KP dry roasted nuts, right? So I did do a Google. What's the difference between dry roasted and non-dry roasted?
One is done
with oil.
Ah, yeah.
And one is done without oil.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it does taste like these are coated in something. But like, whatever.
Well, these are on the bar at Dick Macks, so
salt, rice flour, blah. Okay, so open them up. So these are around. So I think nuts are probably the most old school of bar snacks.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I think the KP itself is around since like the 1870s.
Okay.
And so they originally were doing hazelnuts, like roasted hazelnuts. and
Ooh,
stuff.
I'd like
Imagine
that.
that as a bar snack. Yeah. Jeez, you're getting stuck in straight away.
Oh, they're so tasty.
They are good, aren't they?
I like that dry roasted nut. On the side it says, source of protein and high in fiber. So, I feel like I'm getting healthy stuff.
I mean, You know, you have the little nutritional ones, all the salt, fat, everything's in red. But I mean, that's fine. Don't think about it. You're on the beer anyway.
These are so good.
They're excellent, aren't they?
Oh my god!
I've forgotten how I haven't had, because I've only had the standard ones.
Yeah, which
the blue packet.
Yeah, which are a wee bit rubbery because there's not a coating on them. Whereas there's a lot going on in those. So mixed pyramid of snacks.
Mix pyramid of snacks.
Yeah, where's this going to sit now? We are in the Jeopardy mode. So the last episode we kicked out cow eggs.
Yeah, and
rightly so.
Purple snack is at risk
Oh.
today. Yeah. Man, do you know what? Like, I can tell you already, the purple snack, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
But so where are KP dry roasted peanuts going to go?
They're way better than I remember.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
They're fantastic. Like, I'm craving that pint again.
Yeah.
They're up near the top.
Mm-hmm. So what, we have oysters at the top.
We've oysters, potato,
yeah.
Then McCoy's.
Yeah, so we're in the top
We're
three.
in Windows 3. Windows
Okay.
3. It's because it's above a Dairy Milk. It's it's right up there.
Where are you gonna go?
Is it better or worse than Tato for me? You know, that's where I'm at.
As a pub snack?
As a pub snack,
I
I really enjoyed those Tato, but that has brought me so much joy.
Yeah, I know. I think and I know it's your decision. I don't want to influence you, but I'm going to. I think a packet of these KP dry roasted peanuts and a pint are better than Tato.
I think you might be right, because you don't, like, I wouldn't eat these at home.
No.
Whereas
You
I might eat a packet of Tato or a crisp sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think you're right. I think in the pyramid of snacks, I think they're going in. They're still after oysters.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be very difficult to beat those oysters.
Yeah, because we're bougie.
Yeah, because we're bougie. But yeah, going in
Number
number two slot. Pink snack or purple snack.
Purple snack.
Gone.
Shade snack. Out. Deadly. One of my favorite sections, because it's after me, it's about me. I get to talk a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, Cocktails with Collins has been a very has been a very popular section.
Yeah.
People have enjoyed it. They've enjoyed the little bit of learning. They're like, oh, you actually kind of know what you're talking about.
I like our role play as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. So, okay, I'm at the bar.
You're at the bar. What have you got for me today?
No, you order.
Oh,
Otherwise, just have a look at the menu.
you make me order things, right? Yeah. Put your hand behind your back. Come on. All right.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, good. You call me sir. I would like what are you opening there? What was that?
That was some water for you.
Why'd you open it from a can?
No, I didn't. I poured it from my...
Oh, okay. I would like a Daquiri.
Absolutely, sir. No worries.
Why didn't you ask me any questions?
Would you ask for a daiquiri? So if I hear daiquiri is rum, lime, and sugar. That's what a daiquiri is.
What if I wanted frozen or I don't know, a different type of
Like
rum?
strawberry, different type of... Then you should have asked for it. I genuinely think when it comes to daiquiris are rum, are like unaged rum.
So you used to work in a big rum bar, so you are passionate about this subject.
Yeah. Now, if you came in and you were like, oh, can I have a daiquiri? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. And within the minute, it'll be in front of you in an ice cold chilled glass. It'll be light green and it'll be a beautiful froth on top. And you'd be like, class. Now, if you were then like, oh, there's no strawberries in it, or why isn't it frozen? That's just it's kind of in the martini realm that we spoke about.
Yeah, it's a different drink.
It's skewed so far across. Now, if somebody's like, can I have a strawberry daiquiri? We're like, yeah, no worries. Like, and then we can work with that.
So let's dial it back a little bit. History of the daiquiri, where'd that come from? What is it?
So southeast coast of Cuba.
Right, yeah.
An American engineer, Jennings Cox, I think his name was. His surname was definitely C-O-X Cox.
Yeah.
And he was an American engineer in a town called Daquiri, and his monthly ration of rum. Now, apparently, on like during that time, you got your monthly ration of rum, and you might just mix it with coffee, tonic, like everything, because you were just like,
how do I water this down?
Yeah, how do I just get steaming and like enjoy stuff? So, as you can imagine, limes on Cuba, they're everywhere.
For sure.
They literally grow on trees, and it was rum, lime, and powdered sugar. And And that was that. There's actually a letter. There's a lot of information to say that this is like the exact epicenter of the term daiquiri.
Yeah, because we do for a lot of the cocktails, it's like, it might be this, might be that.
Yeah, and like the kind of formation of those flavors of like spirit, lime, and sugar. There's loads of other ways we can look at it, and we could go into that for days. But when it comes to the daiquiri specifically, there's even a letter from the chief liberation officer of Cuba.
Right. Viva la Revolution.
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah. Writing an eyewitness account of watching the daiquiri be made. And he was like, talking about how amazing it was. And then it actually made its way into a cocktail book in around 1914.
Okay, so
we're
talking
kind of,
like early kind of 20th century.
Yeah, I actually in one of the bars I worked at in London, one of the guys, if you're like, oh, what's your spec for like an Irish coffee? And he's like, do you know how to make a daiquiri? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, right, so instead of 50 mils rum, put in 50 mils Irish whiskey. I'm like, right. And he's like, instead of 25 mils lime juice, put in 15 mils Demerara sugar. And you're like, right. He's like, instead of coffee, put in sugar. And you're like, what? And he's like, and then don't put cream, nutmeg. And you're like, so he essentially, the premise was he truly believed that nearly every single cocktail derives from the daiquiri rum, lime, and sugar balance.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was his theory, and everything was based off that. Like,
yeah, it was ropey. It was funny. Like,
so 3-ingredient drink.
Yeah.
Like, I remember saying to somebody one day, I was like, 3 ingredients. How hard can it be?
Yeah, exactly.
So like talk to me about that. Like, is that a more difficult drink to get right than it is?
Yeah.
Because there's less to hide behind.
Less to hide behind, absolutely. A wee bit like a dry martini, like we spoke about. But how fresh is your lime juice?
How deep is your love?
How fresh is your lime juice? As in, like, we're talking hours. How fresh it is.
Oh, right. So hence coming off the tree. Getting that.
Just squeezed fresh, amazing. It's going to be nice and like tart thin, like your type of sugar. Like, so we tend to always use white castor sugar as a sugar syrup
for a daiquiri.
Yeah, okay. And then it's like 1 to 1 or 2 to 1, and the difference between that was, and this is like nuance level, but like 1 to 1 is there's more dilution in your sugar syrup, so you might have to add more sugar syrup, but there's also more water, so you have to allow for that when you're shaking with ice. And then 2 to 1. There's obviously, you would add less, but there's a higher hit of sugar, less dilution. Again, you have to think about that. And then when it comes to the rum, it's typically a clear, unaged Spanish-style rum. Spanish style, so that's kind of like Cuban molasses-based rum.
A French style?
Yeah, you wouldn't really make a daiquiri with like all of the alcohol being like an agricole, because that's made from sugarcane, so it's very like fresh and grassy and punchy.
Yeah, it kind of tastes agricole for me. There's that kind of almost a poaching element to it. Like it tastes like the land it's come from. Almost.
Yeah, the aguardiente, I think it is. Yeah. So is that the Spanish? Does that work? You don't have a mic.
And would you ever add like a little bit of agricole for a little bit of contrast?
I think there are a couple of people who in the rum mafia, we call them in London, and I'll order a few drinks off, and like one of them in particular, Sergio, he'll put like 5 mils of agricole into it
just to keep you.
And I love it, but I personally wouldn't go rogue on anybody else doing that. Then you can obviously have the snackery.
Oh yeah, what's a snackery?
It's just a small daiquiri.
Oh, I like that name.
That you have in one. You have in a wee snack?
Oh, like when you're on your break?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Not from driving heavy machinery, obviously.
No, of course. But yeah, so then when you're shaking a daiquiri, I'd pack the tin full of ice, close it, and you just shake really, really quick and really, really, really hard. Pour it into like the smaller style coupes, straight out of the freezer. And again, you just want that top. They say you want it to be laughing at you. You want to see the white foam and bubbles just bursting forth.
Oh, trust me. It's laughing at you, pal.
Aren't they all? And then the seg gone in 3 sips. Obviously, it's just one of those drinks because of the element of the citrus. It doesn't do well under heat. It doesn't do well sitting there. It's better fresh, frozen, bouncing.
And similar to a martini, there's a few like historical twists on it, I guess, to do with famous figures or whatever.
Yeah, well that's it. Yeah, so in Cuba, La Floridita, probably most famous place in the world for a daiquiri. La Floridita have like their daiquiri number 1, 2, 3, 4, but they've actually changed one of them, and well, it's now more commonly known as the Hemingway Daiquiri.
Right. If anyone's ever read any of Hemingway's stuff, you'd need a daiquiri to get through it.
He liked to drink, that fella. So he did.
And what's the difference with that one?
So it was said that Hemingway was diabetic. So
Didn't need all the sugar.
he didn't need his sugar in his cocktails. There's actually quite a few drinks linked with Hemingway. Death in the Afternoon. Anyway, digressing. But the Hemingway Daiquiri is said because he was diabetic, he would choose, I think it was Daiquiri number 2 in the Floridita. And they would put in maraschino liqueur, which is a sweetened cherry liqueur. There would be a slight hint of grapefruit in it as well. And it would be shaken. So it's kind of got this like beautiful, like, pinkish hint to it, and that was his drink, so that would be a Hemingway Daiquiri. And then sometimes there's a maraschino cherry dropped into it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then other styles of daiquiris, like you said, you've now got blended, frozen, strawberry, mango. It's kind of,
But it's like that Greek myth. It's like as you take away the boards of the ship, when does the ship and replace them with another one? When does that ship cease to be the same ship? Like the broom in Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
When you take away the broom and the head, like when does it cease?
as
to
a
be the same
trigger,
broom?
he was like, I've changed the head 3 times and the shaft 5.
Yeah,
But it's just, I've had this broom 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and it is that. It's the lime and the sugar and the rum, and then sometimes they just get interchanged. But I think if you are ordering it and you wanted a strawberry daiquiri and you don't see it on a menu board or something behind you, then just specify it.
Yeah. And will you see it on menus very often?
No, actually, yeah. No, I don't think I would see a natural daiquiri on a menu, just because every bartender just knows how to make one.
Yeah, natural as opposed to a daiquiri that's on the gear, like.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a classic that you ask for as opposed to one they're going to put in.
Yeah, or maybe some South American venues will specify, house daiquiri, and they just absolutely nail it, and maybe they have a wee touch of agricole or something in it. But yeah, typically you wouldn't have the classic daiquiri on your menu.
Okay,
That
was great, pal. Appreciate that.
Oh, I really want one now.
Yeah, well, let's. There is a cocktail bar in Dingle, so let's.
Yeah, I was going to say, has there ever been a cocktail made in Dingle?
Tell you what, throw us over the
pint.
Yeah, throw us over the pints.
Oh, sorry.
We'll do cheers. Like.
Oh, yeah. The reason there was a wee quiet bit there is because for those who can't see it on camera or hear it on Spotify, when Michael was like, throw us over there, all of my crap is sitting over there. So there's a lot that I could have thrown over.
But it was obviously the pints.
But here, great chatting to you in Dingle. We love it.
Great to be here. Now, let's go enjoy the sights,
Absolutely.
the sounds, and yes, the smells of Dingle.
Mm-hmm.
Hit that subscribe button down there.
Yeah, absolutely. And get down to Dick Macks, see Finn, give him a hug, go pet a baby lamb.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to us.
Cheers to Charlie.
Charlie, good man. Sláinte.
Great beer.